Today we're taking a look at the new Casabrews Marenza. This is a semi-automatic espresso machine with a built-in grinder. In this video, I'll walk you through all the important details. So by the end, you'll know if it suits you. And you can basically start using it without even reading the manual. Let's start with the unboxing. The outer box already gives you a rough idea of the main features. Inside you get two detailed manuals, and all the accessories sit together in a smaller box. The machine itself is packed with decent protection, so it arrived in good shape. Let me quickly show you what's included. There's a bean hopper, a tamper with a stainless steel base, and a 58mm 3-tab spouted portafilter. You also get a small cleaning pin, a dosing ring, and a brush. The blind filter means the machine supports backflushing, which I'll show you later, and there is a non-pressurized basket in the box as well. On the first power-up, the screen shows a flushing icon. Lock in the portafilter, set the steam wand in place, and put a container under the group head to catch the water. Then press the flush button, and the machine does an automatic first clean. After that, most of the factory smell is gone, and it goes straight into preheating. I tested the warm-up time. This is a single thermoblock machine, and from power on to ready to brew, it takes about 48 seconds, which is pretty reasonable for daily use. After you pull a shot and switch to steam, the thermoblock heats up again in around 15 seconds. By the time you've poured milk into your pitcher, it's usually ready to steam, so the workflow feels quite smooth. Now let's look at the design and build. The Marenza has a strong metal look because the whole body is wrapped in metal panels and the surface texture feels solid. On the front, there's a large screen, which gives it a more modern look. The footprint is quite compact too. Next to the Casabrews Ultra, it actually looks slightly smaller, even though this one has a built-in grinder. Below the screen, you get simple physical buttons. I like the buttons, they're clear and easy to use. When you look closer, the overall finish is quite clean and tidy. The grinder chute sits close to the group head, and when you lock in the portafilter, the handle points slightly to the right. That's on purpose, so when you stand in front of the machine, the handle doesn't block your view. The drip tray cover is a thick metal plate, and the tray has a large capacity, so you don't have to empty it all the time. Underneath, there's a 3-way solenoid outlet, so after brewing it can release pressure and send water into the drip tray. With the blind disc in the portafilter, you can run a backflush cycle for cleaning. On top, you have the built-in grinder. It uses a 40mm stainless steel conical burr set. You can lift the assembly and remove the outer burrs when you need to clean it. The hopper has a simple open and close switch, which makes it easier to change beans or empty it. To install it, you just line up the white mark on the hopper with the mark on the machine. On top of the hopper, there's also a bellows, which helps reduce retention when you single dose. The hopper holds around 180 grams of beans, but if you prefer, you can still use it like a single dosing setup. There are 30 grind steps in total, adjusted by turning the hopper. The rotation feels smooth, and the click steps are easy to feel. You can go all the way down to 1 for a very fine grind, and there is still a little room below that. For fresh medium to dark roast beans, I usually start somewhere between 5 and 10. For lighter roasts or beans that are already a few weeks old, I'll go finer, sometimes below 5, or even close to 1. Different beans will need some testing and adjustment. Press the grind time button to switch between single, double, and manual modes. Single and double have preset grind times, and once you pick one, you can use the center dial to adjust the time in 0.1 second steps. Then you hit the start button, and the grinder runs while the screen shows a countdown. In my tests, grinding 18 grams for espresso took around 15.5 seconds. You can use that as a rough reference, but the time will change with different grind sizes. The included dosing ring is genuinely useful. You clip it onto the portafilter, then slide the portafilter into position under the chute. While it's grinding, the coffee stays in the basket, with almost no grounds jumping out, so the whole process stays very clean. There are also quite a few brewing settings. You can turn the center dial to switch between different drink recipes, each with a preset shot time to help you get started. It's not super precise, but it's friendly if you're new to espresso. If you press the volume button, you'll see a customize volume option. From there, you scroll to the drink you want to program and press the center dial to start the shot. When the coffee reaches the amount you want, you press the dial again to stop. The machine then remembers that shot time, so next time you just press once and it will stop automatically. There can be a small error of a few tenths of a second, and of course the actual yield will change depending on many factors. Because of that, I still prefer to use a scale and stop the shot manually. There are also 3 temperature levels to choose from. I tested the water in the basket with a thermometer, and on the middle temperature setting, most of the shots stayed around 91 to 92 degrees. For a thermoblock, the temperature stability is quite acceptable. On the lower setting, the water was around 89 to 90 degrees, so about 2 degrees lower. These numbers might not be perfectly accurate, but they give a good idea of the trend and stability, and in repeated tests, I did not see a big drop in temperature in the later part of the shot. During extraction, the screen shows the shot time and the live pressure. I find this display easier to read than a traditional pressure gauge. Below the control panel, you also have flush and discal buttons. When the machine needs these operations, the screen will show a reminder. If the hopper is not installed correctly, the machine will show an error and will not run, which is safer. When the water tank is empty, you also get a warning. In brewing mode, if you press the hot water button, you can dispense hot water from the steam wand. There is also a cold brew style function. If you want to try this mode, you have to choose the cold brew option right after you turn the machine on. Then the thermoblock will stay off and you can extract coffee with room temperature water. The flavor is on the lighter side, but if you are curious, it can be fun to play with. Now let's pull a shot and see how it performs. I set the grind to around 3, with a grind time of 16 seconds, which gives me about 19 grams of coffee. The built-in grinder handles medium to dark roasts without much issue. You can keep the dosing ring on for puck prep. Just tap and distribute a bit, then tamp directly. After tamping, take off the ring, and the whole workflow feels smooth and clean. There's a built-in 5-second pre-infusion. It first dispenses around 20 grams of hot water to wet the coffee puck, then pauses for about 3 seconds before ramping up to full pressure. You can see both the live pressure and the shot time on the screen. On this shot, the pressure sits a little above 9 bars, but the flow and the crema both look really good. Since this is a stepped grinder and you can't make super tiny changes, I mainly watch the shot time. As long as it lands somewhere around 25 to 30 seconds, the espresso is very drinkable. The crema and flavor are solid, the temperature is in a good range, and drinking it straight doesn't feel harsh at all. If you see only 5 or 6 bars and the shot runs too fast, you can go one step finer on the grind. If it climbs to 13 or 14 bars and drips very slowly, then go one step coarser instead. As long as your beans are fresh, dialing in a tasty espresso on the Marenza is actually not that hard, even for beginners. Now let's talk about the steaming performance. After your shot is done, just press the steam button and wait about 15 seconds. Then it's ready. I like to open the steam for a second first to purge out the water so the steam is a bit drier. At the beginning, you might need a few tries to find the angle that works for you, but the steam pressure is strong enough to create a proper vortex. Most of the time, I use around 200 milliliters of cold milk, and it takes roughly 50 seconds to get it to the right texture. As soon as you finish, wipe the wand with a damp cloth and give it a quick purge so milk doesn't dry on the tip. The milk foam has nice shine and good flow, and I usually pour it into another pitcher to mix the milk more evenly, and then start pouring latte art. If the foam is a bit thicker than ideal, it still works fine for latte art. For making milk drinks or practicing your pouring, this steam wand is absolutely usable. Once you're done steaming, press and hold the steam button for about 2 seconds to switch back to brew mode. The machine will automatically release pressure and cool back down to a suitable brewing temperature. Finally, let me quickly show you how to backflush the machine. There's a small trick when you change baskets. Instead of digging under the basket with your fingernails, which can really hurt, you can use the edge of the blind basket to pop out the double shot basket. It comes out easily. Then you install the blind basket into the portafilter and press the flush button. Because the water has nowhere to go, it builds pressure and pushes back through the group head to clean out the internal path. The dirty water then drains into the drip tray. I usually do this about once a week if I'm using the machine every day. Thanks to the 3-way solenoid valve, the machine also releases pressure right after extraction, so you can remove the portafilter immediately without a big spray. The puck is usually fairly dry as well, which makes it a lot easier to knock out. So that's my full walkthrough of the Casabrews Marenza. After using it for a while, my overall experience has been pretty good. I do wish the built-in grinder had a bit more fine adjustment range, but aside from that, I don't really have major complaints. Having the grinder and machine in one unit is very convenient for home use, especially if your counter space is limited. If you'd like to pair a more advanced grinder with a separate machine, Casabrews also has options like the Ultra and the 5418 Pro at different price points. If you still have any questions about this machine, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.